Dear respected Thai, dear noble community, today is September the 20th in the year 2018, and we are in our rain retreat. And today is the first monastic day of our 3-month rain retreat. And this year is very special because we begin our 3-month rain retreat in the autumn. The last time that in Plum Village that I could remember having the autumn retreat was in 2004. Was the year we planned in order for Thai and the Sangha to return to Vietnam in 2005, to be there to celebrate Tet, and it was Thai's first Tet, Lunar New Year, back in Vietnam. And already being in this rain retreat in this season is very fresh because it's something very new. And I think one of the qualities that is fresh about it is being outdoors in the rain retreat, being able to still walk around without a jacket, without a sweater, having to worry about the rain or the muddy path. And this fruit of having the rain retreat in this season is the fruit of our deep listening sessions in our monastic retreats. When we listen to our Sangha, we listen to our brothers and our sisters to hear what is the difficulties, to hear what are the joys and what are the happiness, and to hear where we can support our community to continue to have freedom, happiness, and joy. And after 2 years of deep listening, there was one topic that was very clear, and that was how can we have the 3-month retreat for the brothers and the sisters without any interruption, meaning we won't have to have a break in between our retreat to prepare for the holidays or having a great ordination ceremony within the retreat so that we don't have to plan and organize, so that we can really truly have a time for the monastic community, the Brown family, to take care of one another. And we saw the rhythm of our retreats where maybe the first month and a half is very energetic, very strong. Everybody is very enthusiastic in the practice, in the studies, in being there for each other. And then somehow, once there becomes a break, for us to kind of like have an intermission within our retreat to host and to be a refuge for everyone to come to celebrate the holidays with us. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually a lot of joy and a lot of happiness. But then we saw that it was difficult, more difficult, to rebuild the momentum or to rebuild the pace that we have already started with. And after listening to our community, we had a Dharma teacher meeting. And in our Dharma teacher meeting, this was a big topic, a big debate, or a big sharing. And in the end, we saw we have to let the younger one know that we listen, and that our Sangha deep listening session is not just a form, but actually is something we want to put into practice to show our trust and to show our love and our care to the community. And therefore, this year, we have established our 3-month retreat in the autumn. It is not new, but it is not old. And we know that shifting one schedule means shifting our whole schedule of the whole year. So realizing this, we know that every action we do for the community affects everyone's happiness and joy. So when we think about our Sangha, we learn not to think as an individual. We learn to think collectively as a river. One of the images that we are taught when we come into the Sangha is that each and every one of us is a drop of water. And as a drop of water, entering into the community is entering into the stream of Sangha life. And this stream has its way of flow. And when we first come in, we learn to flow with the stream. We follow the stream. We try to understand, where is the stream going? What direction is the stream taking? Each of us has an aspiration to become a part of the Sangha. Therefore, we entrust ourselves in taking refuge and in becoming a monastic in this community. And our aspirant time is very important. It's the time for us to discover and to learn and explore, is this the stream that I want to immerse myself into? And the river, as long as it flows, we know it flows to the great ocean. And that is the insight that the river has. So a true community, a true Sangha, a true gem of the 3 jewels has that insight. If there is harmony, there is mindfulness, there is brotherhood and sisterhood, there is place to grow, place to make mistakes, then that stream of community will also lead to the ocean of happiness, ocean of awakening. So as a monk, as a nun, especially in this community, where Thai emphasize a lot on brotherhood and sisterhood. Brotherhood and sisterhood here means learning to take refuge in one another. Brotherhood and sisterhood is an element of Sangha, very important element of Sangha. We are a 4-fold community. We are very lucky that we are a 4-fold community. We have the monks community, the nuns community, and we have the lay friends that come, that are inspired to live and to practice with us. But the monastic community plays a very important role, especially in a monastery. We are a practice center, but the root of our practice center is that we are a monastery. And a monastery can only be a monastery because there is monks and nuns. And we are a living community of monks and nuns. We may be the biggest monastic community in the West right now that has living monks and nuns 24/7. And this is something that Thai has always dreamed of. As a young monk growing up, one of Thai's biggest and deepest dreams was to create a community where there is young monks, young nuns, old monks, old nuns. So you don't feel left out, because you are part of the dream too. And that there is harmony, and that it can carry the aspiration of the Buddha, the legacy of the Buddha. And as I look into this community of brothers and sisters, we're very fortunate that we have many elders that are still here. I remember as a young novice, Thai always said that a successful monk and a successful nun is a lifetime work, and it's very difficult. And at that time, I was still very young, and I didn't see why is it so difficult, because I was so happy as a monk. And I was like, oh man, this life is great. You know, every day somebody's cooking for you, somebody's washing up for you, somebody's sanitizing. You only have to work from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, 2 hours a day, compared to the 9 to 5 outside. It's not so bad. You know, that is my, the happiness side that is speaking. And because you're very young, and you still see the many beauty, and then the more you become a monastic, and then, oh, the suffering from your ancestor comes up. Whoa. And then suffering that is manifested within the monk's residence. Oh, I don't want to see that brother today. Oh, I made somebody suffer, and they are avoiding me. You know, and then different experiences starts to develop in your monastic career. And then we are faced, the universal suffering is burnout. Wow, too much. Oh, too much retreat. Oh, too much cooking. Too much cleaning. This is very real. We all go through it. And we all have to experience it. Because for myself, my own experience, this is all experience that will be built inside of you to make you become leaders. As a monastic, we have the aspiration to lead a life of simplicity, of humility, of openness, of awakening. And because we aspire to live that life, we become an inspiration. We become a leader. Whether you know it or not, you are all on the path to becoming leaders. Not the abbot or the abbess or the dean of an institute are the only leaders or the Dharma teachers. But each and every one of us are leaders. When you look back, just a few months ago, we were offering very big retreats. And when a lay friends comes into our community, what they are inspired is the monks and nuns. Our capacity to hold a community, to open our doors, to welcome people to come to explore the art of mindful living, giving them tools in order to learn to breathe mindfully, learn to know how to make mindful steps, learn to begin anew with their child. All of this are qualities of leadership that the community has. And the community is able to offer this space, to offer this capacity, is because in each and every one of the drop of water in this community gives that light, gives that inspiration. And that is why our teacher always says, don't wait until you become a bhikshu or a dharma teacher to be an inspiration, to be a teacher. Already as a young novice, our way of being is to teach, is a lesson for somebody. And as another image that I learned when I entered the community is that we are a stream, and in the stream, you can say there is the front and there is the back, because it's flowing. But the essence of the stream of the stream is the water. The back or the front is all the water. And we have to see ourselves as part of that water. And for myself, I know that wherever I am, either in the middle, we all get to experience being at the back, being more laid back, let the Dharma teachers take care of the teachings, giving us the time to just invest ourselves in the daily fundamental practice of our daily life. The cooking, cooking teams, that is team building. This is all an art of community life. When you are part of a cooking team, that is your little sangha right there, within the big sangha. We have leaders in the cooking teams. Leaders are the ones that has experience. And if we are younger, we can rely on them to show us, okay, today we have 100 people. How many bowls of rice we need to cook? And we learn from the get-go. We learn from the beginning. And we experience. And as a team leader of 4 to 5 people, if you know how to take care of that team of 4 to 5 people, then in the future you can be an abbot and take care of 100 monks and nuns, or 50, 60 monks and nuns. Because already in a cooking team, we have to learn to be on time. We have to learn to be there for each other. We have to have the courage to come out of our comfort zone, to make mistakes. A lot of us, some of us, we all come from different journeys into this community. Some of us were already had a job outside, maybe having enough salary, never even need to cook, just eat outside every day. And some of us, we had to learn to cook from the very beginning. And some of us, we had the luck of our parents cooking every day for us, so we never cooked in our life. And all of this experience that we don't have, or we don't have to feel ashamed of, or we don't have to feel proud of. Because in a cooking team, as a team member, we learn to teach each other. And if somebody asks us, what is the criteria to becoming a monk And dear aspirants, some of you are here to become, not some, all of you are here to become monastics. And soon, a meeting for you will come up for the Sangha to reflect on each and every individual of you, of your practice, your joy, and your life in the Sangha. And one of the biggest area we will reflect on is the cooking teams. Are you able to blend and work with the brothers and the sisters? How did you handle your emotions during the time of frustration? How were you able to support the group? Were you able to be open to listen to criticism, to listen and to know when you are wrong? Because all of this experience in the cooking team is the experience, life experience you will carry on and you will continue to develop into the bigger Sangha. Into the bigger Sangha is a much more bigger team, and there is much more reflections. There's a lot more for you to develop your openness, because there are many eyes that are looking at you now. And there are many more hands to embrace and to lead you the way. So if in a cooking team of 4 to 5 people, we're not able to be in harmony and not able to take care of our joy and happiness in that, then it will be much more difficult in a bigger environment, bigger Sangha. So when somebody come and asks us, what is Plum Village's training of a young novice? Cooking team, number 1. We can laugh. We can laugh about it because it seems so simple, but deep inside is where everything happens. And we just did the counting stick ceremony, and in our counting stick ceremony, we have a stick for the Buddha, a stick for Thai, and also a stick for the kitchen bodhisattva. And I'm teaching in Upper Hamlet for the classes. I'm teaching the long-term lay friends who have been living with us for 1 to 2 or 3 or 5 years. And this year they all ask us, Thai, I get the Buddha and I understand Thai, but why the kitchen bodhisattva? Why does the kitchen bodhisattva receive a stick and not the other bodhisattva, like Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, or Samantabhadra? And I don't know. I was like, good question. And I said, because a group of brothers, I went to, even the traditional brothers, I went to Thai Minh Hy, I went to Thai Dom Tri, I went to the brothers, like, why? And we're all like, oh. There's gotta be, a cultural history to it, there's gotta be a tradition to it. And I said, I will ask Sister Jung Duk one day, maybe she will know, because Thai has probably mentioned it one time. But not knowing that answer yet, but just reflecting on the topic that we are on, how cooking teams is so essential, because life is happening in the kitchen. Because life needs food, And food needs to be prepared. And in a living community of mindful practitioner, Thai always says, the food tastes much better when the cooks prepare it in mindfulness, joy, and happiness. So, dear sisters and brothers, when we eat upper handless food, maybe the food may not be as delicious as we want, but there is mindfulness, joy, and happiness in it. That is our practice. That is our practice as monastics. We're essentially all beggars. We say when we wear the robe of a monk, we don't ever have to worry about hunger. Because in the robe of a monk is a robe of trust and of faith, of spirituality that people entrust themselves to. So in the life of a Sangha, we may feel very fortunate, we're so lucky in the Plum Village tradition. Think about how many homes we have. Wow. Once a year, if I can move rooms, I have new roommates. If today I feel like I need more space, I can take refuge, walk in our big garden. I can go to Shanghai, have another house. I have 3 to 4 meditation halls to practice. Right? Wow, we are very rich. If we are suffering, if we need more, we feel stuck, stuck in our practice, we need a new environment. Oh, we have up to 10 other monasteries to choose from. Can you believe that? America has 3, Europe has Plum Village, now Paris, Germany, Asia. Wow, we are very rich. If you look into our life, and all we have to do is ask, wow, dear Bhikshu, Sangha, I suffer so much. I feel like I need time and space to grow. This is me, huh? This is me. This is when I was 18 years old. So by then I was living in the Sangha for 5 years already. And I had a lot of joy. Like I said, everything, I couldn't believe that life as a monk is hard to succeed. Until one point, I felt I wasn't moving anywhere. Wow. Because in Plum Village, like in this big hall, I feel like I'm on a ship, a very great ship that is sailing the river. And I don't have to do anything. Because I was still the youngest at that time. I was very cared for. Brothers always checking in. Phap, do you need this? Do you need that? I was feeling too cared, too loved. And I feel like, oh, I'm a man now. I'm 18. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm 18. Outside, I would be living on my own, getting ready to go to university. And here, the brothers still treat me as a kid. Thai still protects me too much. And so I said, dear Sangha, please let me go to another center. I want to grow. And initially, Thai didn't agree for me to go. But during the US tour of 2005, I felt this is it. This is where I want to grow up as a young adult. And so I took another channel. I didn't go through Thai. I went through the Bhikshu. I went through Thai Phap Ang, Thai, and a few elder brothers. Like, dear brothers, I feel like I need a new environment. I need a new space for me to continue my monastic career in order to grow. And I was granted that I was granted for my wish to come true. And for myself, when somebody asks me, how was your time in Deer Park? I've always said that my time in Deer Park was when I learned to sail the boat. It was when I learned to be in the CTC for the first time. I learned to be a work coordinator. I learned to stand in front of the community and to present responsibilities and encourage my Sangha to raise their hand and say, I will clean the toilet. And all of this is an experience and is all food for us to become leaders, to become a teacher. I used to have a habit, whenever I'm nervous, I always shake. And one time I was standing beside Venerable Phukden, who is the Venerable still today, is staying at Deer Park. And when I was presenting the work meditation, and I was leaning back and forth, and he just put his hand on my shoulder, and I froze like a mountain. But I knew right away what that motion meant for me. It meant Phap Hu, be still while leading. And I will never forget that. Till today, whenever I shake, whenever I move back and forth, I can feel I can feel Venerable Phukden's hand on my shoulder. And there are little acts like this that can really change somebody's habit and can help a brother see their weakness or see their habits. And that for me was a teaching moment for me much later on as I learned to be an elder brother. Because an elder brother, a leader, doesn't mean you have to give Dhamma talks, you have to give a class. But just a motion of support like that can leave a very strong impact. So as we learn to continue to deepen our brotherhood, our sisterhood, and our journey to becoming a teacher, our journey to becoming an elder brother and elder sister, we also know that every motion, every action, how simple it is also a way of leading, a way of showing. And this for me is still something I am still developing, is something I am still inspiring. But you have to see the direction, you have to see where this leadership river is flowing towards. For you to be open and to receive as well as to gain experience. So in the community, there are so many opportunities that is being offered for us. We know very clearly that in our community, in the Plum Village Sangha, Thai doesn't encourage us going outside to learn, to go to university, to go to school, to learn a particular degree. Because in Thai's vision, in Thai's insight, as a monastic, that is not important for the true life of a monk and nun and the direction of Plum Village. When we were to become monastics, I myself and 6 others were the first baby monks and nuns in France, in Plum Village, France at that time. And I've learned that during our time to be received into the monastic community, there is a very strong question is, do we enroll these young teenagers becoming monastics into school in Sigulais? Like, as a young monastic, do the community enroll them into public school for them to continue having the education? And in the end, Thai's insight is no. Because Thai sees that everything they need to learn and everything they need to experience as a monastic, because a monastic is a career. As a monastic, they will gain and they will learn the experience in Plum Village. Because Thai had trust and Thai had faith that in this Sangha, we can learn all the necessity that we need to become a successful monk, a successful nun. And I'm very grateful for that insight, because I know as a young person, I'm like a sponge. Whatever environment we are put in, we soak in that environment. Our consciousness receives the space around us, receives the noise, the energies around us. So that is why, as a Plum Village monastic, we always come home to our community, because that is the safest environment for our aspiration, for our hopes and our dreams. In my insight gatha that I received, in my Dharma gatha I received, the second line says, Suốt đời nương tựa có tăng thân. My whole life, as I take refuge, I will always have the Sangha. And to be honest, when I first received my insight gatha, I didn't pay much attention to that line, because it's kind of Plum Village stereotypical teaching. All your life you will have the Sangha. Of course, because you come from the Sangha. And I paid more attention to the other lines, which was more poetic and more kind of like dreamy. But what I practice the most is the second line. Is suốt đời nương tựa có tăng thân. My gatha that was transmitted to me was hành ngộ chân truyền nên pháp hữu, suốt đời nương tựa có tăng thân, mắt xanh tỏ rạng xuân tiền kiếp, tuổi pháp đo bằng tuổi núi sông. Right? So hành ngộ chân truyền nên pháp hữu. So cô Chân Đức, can you help me with this first line? Hành ngộ. I myself don't really understand the word hành ngộ, so maybe you can also awaken me. Hành ngộ is awakening. Hành ngộ.
Ngộ is awakening. Han is practice. So if it's Chinese, then the ngộ is the main word, and the practice awakening, awakening by means of the practice.
Yeah. So hành ngộ chân truyền nên pháp hữu. Pháp hữu, my name is Dharma friend. It means that I have to learn to be all of your friends. That is my life goal, is to be everybody's friend. And Mắc sanh tỏ rạng xuân tiền kiếp is saying, I don't have blue eyes. It says, in the line, if to translate it word per word, is your blue eyes, Mắc sanh tỏ rạng, your blue eyes expresses the many springs of the past. And this is to share about the conditions that I have had as a monastic with Thai, meaning how easy it was for me to be Thai's attendant, how easy it was for me to have a very close relationship with Thai, and in the Gatha, it's also expressing maybe in many different past experience, past life, we have already met, and therefore in this life the encounter was so easy. And then so hành ngộ chân truyền nên pháp hữu, suốt đời nương tựa có tăng thăng. It's the second one, sorry I passed, which was, as I take refuge in my whole life, I will always have the Sangha. And the last sentence is, tuổi Pháp đo bằng tuổi núi sông. And this is the encouragement, and this is the teaching for me, is that tuổi Pháp, my Dharma age, will be counted or will be measured. Will be counted and measured by the mountains and the rivers. And this is to say that as a true practitioner, when we learn to become a mindful practitioner and aspire to take on the path as a monastic, then we develop our virtues. We develop a Dharma body and a precept body. And when it is practiced and it is developed, it will be transmitted into many generations. And so usually we can count a monastic's age by our rain retreats year, our tuổi hạ, our years of participating in the rain retreat. Like how many years have you been, etc., etc. But in the ultimate dimension, we can count as successful as monk or nun, their monastic life, their impact is like the mountains and the river, continuing to flow, continuing to be an image of stability for the younger trees, the younger forests, the younger rivers, drops of water to lean on and to rely on. And very concretely, looking into this Gatha, for me, still today, is the second line, is what is still my bread and my butter of every day. When in 2014, when our teacher got sick, and we knew that, wow, now for our big retreat, Thai will not be teaching. And our Dharma teachers, we have to step up. We have to learn to take on our teacher's podium, to sit on it, and to embody the teacher within us, to share the Dharma, to share the practice to the many friends who come. And my critical mind right away said, our retreat is gonna decrease year by year. My critical mind. my mind of seeing a superstar, right? Because Thai was like a superstar. Whatever Thai do, whatever Thai say, is always inspiring, always encouraging. And I thought that people will not be able to see the teacher within the community. And that was my perception. And the Buddha always says 99% of our perceptions are wrong. And it was true that our Sangha didn't shrink, but it continued to manifest and continued to grow. And the first year, I remember 2015, the retreat, the number was big. And I was like, this must be people's compassion and their love and their kind of pity, like doi. Yeah, like, Plum Village probably needs some love, some embrace. Thai is not there, so they come. And then 2016, numbers still increase. And 17, 18, we know the reality to today. So for me, I can see very clearly that in this community, the teacher is very alive. It's very alive. And many of the lay friends have shared with me personally, from in the Dharma sharing groups, as well as just meeting me on the path and sharing their joy and their happiness. And their joy and their happiness is being able to see Thai's legacy still alive in this community. And this legacy is still alive thanks to each and every one of us here. Thanks to every drop of water continuing to carry this river to the ocean. And I want to take this opportunity to water the flowers in each and every one of you, in sticking with the Sangha to today, and to taking refuge, and to relying, and to offering our whole being, our whole presence to this community. I know it's not easy, and I know that we can meet very difficult emotions and difficult feelings even within the community. But I hope that your seed of faith and your seed of trust in the Sangha can be awakened during those times. And this faith and this trust is not blind. We're all mindfulness practitioners, and mindfulness means awareness. So our faith and our trust is not blind because it has the seed of mindfulness in it. And the trust and the faith here is not being blinded by somebody telling us about something, but it's our own experience that we have gained within the community, within our path as a practitioner. I think we can all recognize the little fruits of our practice that we have gained already as monastics, whether we are 1 year in or 20 years in. All of us have a bank of experience. And all this experience is to continue to nourish and develop our monastic path, so that when there is a moment of difficulty, we can always have something to rely on. And outside of us, there is a community. if you continue to take refuge in the Sangha, then the Sangha will always be there. If you stop taking refuge in the Sangha, then the Sangha is there but is not there. I have experienced that. I have experienced that the Sangha is there, but I am not there. And this is just like our teaching. Happiness is always there, but are we there for happiness? So it is the same in our community. The community is always there, but are we there? And this is also the practice to help us peel our layer of ego. Have you ever felt that without you, the Sangha will suffer? Have that ego ever spoken up? If I don't show up, my team will suffer. And sometimes we want to punish our loved ones. We want to punish our Sangha. And we choose to not to be there. That is our ego speaking. I have done that. I have had moments that I want to do something so that the Sangha know without me, the Sangha will suffer. And in reality, that's not true. Without Phap, the Sangha will go. Will continue to flow just like the river, the nature of the river. And that is why we can see that in this community, to today, our community is still very alive, still growing, still developing, and still a refuge. That is because even without Thai taking on the role of giving the Dhamma talks, being the headmasters of ceremonies, etc., the community still continues. So our ego can always be tamed and always can be reminded. Just remember, as a drop of water, we're part of the river, but without our drop of water, the river is still a river and it still flows. And sometimes we have to learn to let go and just flow with the Sangha. And very concretely, we all learn this in our meetings. We all have the right to give our input. We have the right to share our view. But once we have done that, we put it into the Sangha circle and we let that become the Sangha's insight. And if the Sangha sees that this insight could be used in this present moment because all the conditions are right, then we know that our insight becomes the Sangha's insight and it becomes reality. And there's no ego because everything we do and we train is for the benefit of the community. In bhikshu meetings and bhikshuni meetings, we're always encouraged to share with the view for the benefit of the whole community. We have a view, we have a thought, we have an idea. It's beneficial for us, and we always have to ask, but is it also beneficial for the whole community? And Thai always also say that if the Sangha arrives at a different decision, we don't become hurt. We don't feel like, oh, our ideas, our thought is not being valued. But because conditions are not suitable enough to support that. And we learn to let go, to flow with the Sangha. And in the Sangha, we don't vote, because when we vote, we divide. Even we vote 80-20, then the side of 80 feels, we won, there's victory. And the side that voted no feels they have lost. And that is not the spirit of our community. Our meetings, we always come to a consensus, a harmonious consensus. And sometimes, as an elder brother and elder sister, in order to support an idea, and we may see that it is not the brightest insight, but for the growth of the community, maybe we learn to support it, so the community will have experience in order for the next decision to become better. And if we cannot come to a decision in one meeting, we stop. And we don't, because there is not enough harmony yet. And we do more homework. We try to understand why we cannot realize that yet. So we know that the essential outcome for a meeting is the harmony of the Sangha. Whenever I lead a meeting, that is the energy in my compass. That is my compass that I use, and I learn to not be biased. It's very easy to lean towards something to support for your own benefit. But as a facilitator, this is when you learn no self. You let go of your personal, what you think will benefit you, in order to hear and to listen what the voice of the community needs, what the voice of the community wants, and you support it in a way for the growth of the Sangha. And from that, you gain more and more experience as leaders. You gain more experience as facilitators. Let us listen to one sound of the bell. All of us come back to our in-breath and our out-breath. Our schedule in the Sangha is like the spine of our community body. And the spine has to be strong and firm to support the upper and the lower body, for it to stand, to sit upright. So when we recognize that our schedule plays that role for the stability of the community, then we all know our responsibility to take care of that spine. Thầy always shared that in the Sangha, every member is a cell. The cell to nourish the hand, the cell to nourish the brain, the cell to nourish the body. And all the cell, all the body needs to rely on the spine. So as every member, we know our responsibility towards the activity of the community. And as leaders and as elder brothers and sisters, we also have to have time to listen to the spine, to to know if the spine needs stretching. Sometimes the spine does one exercise for too long, it becomes too rigid, and it needs a little yoga. It needs downward dog or back bend. And Thai always says that the schedule is our spine and we are the creator, and we are what makes the spine solid or not. So from time to time, we have to listen to our community to know how to continue to support the spine of the Sangha. Where does it need stretching? Where does it need massage? For the blood to continue to circulate and to flow to nourish the body. Recently, in the Upper Hamlet, in the Dharma Cloud Temple of Upper Hamlet resident and Shanghai resident, we saw that our happiness meeting was becoming very dull, and it was becoming very boring. This is out of a lot of respect for the happiness meeting, but we saw that it wasn't working anymore. That every day at 4:30, it was a drag. It became a drag for the community to come. And I said, man, this is not giving happiness. It's not giving joy. And so I had to look deeply, and I asked a few brothers, what can we do? What can we do? Because we have to know the history of the happiness meeting. When I first came in, happiness meeting did not exist yet. And at that time, mainly it was just meetings. And at the beginning of the community, our meeting was not as pleasant and as maybe joyful as it is today. I wasn't a part of the meetings because I was still a novice, but I have heard that there was a lot of wounds and scars coming from meetings because there wasn't yet the capacity of harmonizing views, of listening and of opening. And then Thai saw that all the bhikshu and bhikshuni at that time, all the meetings were always business, business, business. And there was lacking the side of listening, of hearing, oh, how are you? What is your joy and happiness? And then what are the things that are not happy, that are not giving you happiness? You need to share in order so that the Sangha can move towards an activity and move to a lifestyle that brings happiness to our daily life. And therefore, happiness meeting was manifested. I remember coming to the first few happiness meetings, Thai would attend with us, and we all were encouraged to really look deeply and to see what is our joy as a monk? What is our joy in the week that we've had? Because they cannot, as a practitioner, maybe it's true, but it would be crazy to see that 7 days has passed and we don't have at least one joy and one happiness. So it was a way and a teaching for us to look deeply and to recognize our happiness in our life as a monastic. And we have to identify it, call it by its true name, and know this is what is nourishing for us. And we have to reflect and to see what are the things that don't bring us joy and bring us happiness. And we have to be able to identify and let the Sangha know. So we ask for support, so the Sangha knows this is our difficulty, and the Sangha already understand. Understanding is already a support. Action can follow afterwards. You see, now that was the true intention of happiness meeting. It's not, oh, today I walk and I hear the birds singing, the blue sky. Oh, that is joy, that is happiness, no doubt about it. But it has to be deeper than that. Or maybe, I'm sorry, maybe that is very deep. But for my level, that can be just a poetic side and not looking yet into the daily life. Right? So initially, the happiness meeting is to create a time for the brothers and sisters of each hamlet to come and to, it's another word for Dharma sharing. But here we don't have to talk about the teachings, we don't have to talk about what we're learning in class, etc., our question about the Dhamma, but it's to focus on our day-to-day life, to know how we are doing day to day. You know how like we do Dhamma sharing and we do a weather report in our Dhamma sharing? We ask every member to give a quick weather report how we are doing. Right? So if I understand correctly, that was the essence and the essential of the happiness meeting. Right? And so fast forward to today in the Upper Hamlet, we have pushed that happiness meeting into another session. And that is, we give it a new name, and we call it Sangha Life. And for the Upper Hamlet, I saw it worked because every Sangha Life, we can have a topic where we all look into. And every topic that we address is always going to come back to the joy and the life and the happiness of the Sangha. So it's just using the same container, but just another color. And a maybe more directed question than just happiness. And so I saw by starting the happiness, the Sangha life, it brought the community, the brothers together, and it gave us a chance to hear the experience from the elder brothers to the younger brothers. And we do it all together, novice, Dhamma teacher, bhikshu. And because we see that throughout the years, we give so many Dhamma sharing for friends to come and for us to listen, to us to give our experience. But we see as monastics, sometimes we don't hear each other until a crisis happens or until a suffering becomes very big, and then we have to have team building meetings. So it's a way of establishing a condition for us to continue to be together, to listen, to share, and to learn in order to continue to develop our joy and our happiness. And it gave us a platform because it's a sharing, so the elder brothers don't have to feel like we're always teaching. You know, the dear younger brothers and sisters, please support us. Sometimes we feel like we always have to guide, we always have to share, we always have to teach. And sometimes it's just nice to just to share our experience in a way of feeling that we have to be an example or to be a lead. And this gave for myself, it gave me a space to feel, wow, I don't have to be an abbot. I can listen and I can share just my day-to-day experience. So that is just one example of building and folding and stretching the body of the Sangha. And there, if we listen to our body, we can know where needs pressure, where needs stretching, in order for the flow of the Sangha can continue to be alive. And that is also the reason why we are experiencing the 3-month rain retreat in the autumn, to move the body of the Sangha, to see how it will flow, and to see where the happiness and maybe where are some of the things that will become difficult within the year. So this is still an experiment process as we are doing, and it's very alive. We feel very, very fortunate to be a part of this whole experience. I do get stressed a lot, and I do have a lot to do. I think my practice and my goal in the next 5 years is that when a brother or sister see me, and the first thing they don't say is, "Oh, Taiwahu, you must be too busy, but can you help me, or can you do this?" So I know maybe right now I'm giving out an energy, and I'm giving out an impression that I'm always too busy. And I'm sorry, and I would like to walk forward and continue to develop my practice in order to be more at ease with the responsibility. But I can share one thing, is that I do enjoy a lot doing all the work I am doing for the community. I enjoy being an abbot. I enjoy learning to be an abbot. I enjoy learning to see the community grow and to be able to be a part of this legacy. To be honest, I didn't know what it meant to be an abbot. I had a few ideas, but all that ideas has been pushed aside, and what has evolved who I am today is through just the day-to-day experience in this community. And now, maybe now I can write down a few very concrete things of what an abbot could do and should do and could learn and can learn. But before that, I didn't know. There's no manual for an abbot. There's no manual for a leader in our community. But already naturally, you are a leader, because when you choose this life, you're already choosing the life to lead. Right? And I'm learning to take one action at a time. That is how I am dealing with my stress, and that's how I am dealing with being overclouded with things to do on the agenda. This morning I just remember that, wow, why don't I practice Thai's name? One action. I think that is the most awesomest name ever, and the most zen and straightforward name. One action. And as I reflect on my responsibility, everything I do has to be done one at a time, in order for it to be done correctly, mindfully, and with joy. And when I'm able to have this joy and this happiness in the role that I do, and I accept it, then everything opens up. If you don't accept what you do and what you represent for yourself and for your Sangha, then it's very hard for things to flow, very hard for the energy and the help to come, because you're always pushing it away, always denying it. But everything is very organic in the community. I can guarantee you that. Everyone, like I said, has the right to say, to share our input, and also has the right to say no. But don't make saying no become a habit, and saying no become a way of denying or pushing away our potential growth. I know that everyone needs experience to become good at what we do, just like a monk or just like a Dharma teacher. And remember, Thai always says, a good Dharma teacher takes at least 10 years. So if you are still young as a Dharma teacher, know there is still a lot for us to grow and for a lot of us to develop. And know that we all have the capacity, though. We all have the capacity to become the monk and the nun that we aspire to. I still have a big dream for myself as a monastic, and I still have a very big dream for this Sangha. I don't want to share it because I don't want to jinx it. But already you can already feel and see a lot of it, maybe in my sharing or in my way of life. But I have a lot of hope and a lot of dream for this Sangha. And I know that the dream can only be reality by my every action, one at a time. And as long as I'm continuing to feed and continue to nourish it, then it will become a reality. And I know each and every one of you in this community also have a dream and an aspiration for your monastic career, and as well as your aspiration for the community. So don't feel like, oh, it's not manifesting yet after 3 years in the community. Come on, 3 years is nothing. Or after 5 or 10 years, it takes a whole journey. But as long as you are continuing to nourish it and continue to feed it, that dream will become reality. Sometimes that reality is already manifesting, but we don't see it yet, because it's so gradual. So please, dear community, don't lose hope, don't lose dream in your path that you have aspired to walk. Be patient with ourselves. The river is still flowing. When the drop needs more support, rely on the strong current that is flowing in the Sangha. Let it carry you. And at the same time, know that every action we do in this community as we create brotherhood and sisterhood is to bring the river towards the ocean. Thank you very much, dear brothers and sisters, for listening.